Pale morning sunlight filtered through the armored glass walls of the massive complex, part firehouse, part command bunker, part disaster response fortress, hummed with controlled life. Crews moved through the lower apparatus bays carrying coffee mugs and gear bags. Maintenance drones rolled along polished concrete floors. Above them, suspended from overhead rails, heavy firefighting drones sat dormant in their charging racks like mechanical predators waiting for war. Today, for once, there was no war. At least not yet. Today was ceremony day. The auditorium level of headquarters was the emergency coordination hall. Now banners of Crown Emergency Services hung from the steel walls beside the crest of Kingsport. Rows of firefighters, medics, drone operators, and exo-frame crews filled the chamber. Richard Hale stood in dress uniform beside 6 other probationary firefighters. 1 year. 1 year since he had walked into Station 51 as an outsider. 1 year since the Royal Marine veteran had traded combat armour for turnout gear. Captain Aaron Rourke stood near the front row with his arms crossed, watching silently beneath the brim of his black CES cap. Beside him sat several senior officers and battalion chiefs. Jace Torrin leaned against the back wall near the drone operations crews, grinning like he already knew Richard hated ceremonies. "Try not to look so terrified," Jace muttered. Richard exhaled slowly. "I'd rather fight a mechanized insurgent platoon." "That can probably be arranged later." Richard smirked despite himself. The room settled as Battalion Chief Eleanor Ward stepped onto the stage. Ward was built like old steel, grey-haired, sharp-eyed, and carrying the kind of command presence that silenced a room without effort. She opened a data tablet. Today, she began, "We recognize the probationary firefighters of the 214th Crown Emergency Services Academy cohort, now completing their first operational year within Kingsport Division." Applause echoed through the hall. Ward's eyes scanned the room. 1 year in CES means something. It means you survived the calls no one prepares you for. The dead children, the tower collapses, the industrial fires, the medical extractions, the days where you question whether you can keep going. The room grew quiet. And despite all of it, you stayed. She looked towards Richard. Firefighter Richard Hale. Richard stepped forward, a hollow display activated behind him, projecting operational footage from the last year. Fire scenes, medical rescues, drone feeds, exo-frame deployments. Ward continued. Former Royal Marine Sergeant Richard Hale entered Crown Emergency Services with prior combat commendations and extensive mechanized warfare experience. Images flashed behind him of a younger Hale in Marine combat armour. During his probationary year, Firefighter Hale completed Advanced Urban Rescue Certification, Hazardous Environment Qualification, and Class 3 Exo-Frame Integration Training. More footage appeared. Richard operating an EF-72 fireframe inside a burning maglev tunnel. Richard carrying civilians through floodwaters. Richard shielding medics during a chemical plant explosion. Firefighter Hale has participated in 112 emergency responses, 26 high-risk structural fires, 11 confirmed life-saving rescues. Ward paused. He additionally became one of the youngest certified heavy exo-frame operators in Kingsport Division history. That earned genuine applause. Even Richard looked uncomfortable with the attention. Ward smiled faintly. Reports from commanding officers consistently describe Firefighter Hale with the same phrase. She looked up from the tablet. He moves toward the danger before being ordered. Several firefighters nodded knowingly. Captain Rourke's expression remained stoic, though there was unmistakable pride in his eyes. Ward stepped closer. The drive of a Royal Marine adapted to the purpose of Crown Emergency Services. She extended the silver service pin. "Congratulations, Firefighter Hale. Probationary status removed." The room erupted into applause. Richard accepted the pin. For just a moment he thought about how different this felt from military commendations. No medals for killing, no honours for destruction, only for saving people. That mattered more than he expected. 2 hours later, the atmosphere inside Station 51 had completely changed. Music echoed through the recreation hall while crews crowded around tables stacked with food containers and drink dispensers. Someone had convinced one of the maintenance drones to wear a party hat. Captain Rourke pretended not to notice. Richard sat with Jace Torrin and several firefighters from Rescue Squad 3, while off-duty crews laughed nearby. "You know," Jace said between bites of terrible station cake, "you officially outrank probationary coffee duty now." Richard nodded seriously. A proud day. "Don't get excited," another firefighter said. "You still clean drone ash filters." "Tragic," Jace raised a drink. "To Richard Hale, former Royal Marine, current exoframe lunatic." Glasses lifted around the table. "To Richard!" Richard shook his head with a grin. Across the hall, Atlas 51's holographic avatar flickered above the central tactical projector. The AI normally remained muted during social events. Tonight it quietly monitored station systems, while crews relaxed. Captain Rourke stood near the far wall speaking with Battalion Chief Ward. Neither of them were drinking. Neither of them looked relaxed. Rourke's mind remained fixed on the royal visit from months earlier, on Prince Rowan's warning. CES support would soon be needed. He still did not know exactly what that meant. Then every light in the recreation hall shifted crimson. The music stopped instantly. Conversations died. Atlas 51's voice filled the station. "Priority alert!" Every firefighter froze. A massive tactical display exploded across the wall screens. Kingsport. 3 separate flashing red zones appeared across the city. Confirmed mass casualty events. Silence. Then another voice transmission cut through the room, police channels screaming with overlapping gunfire. Richard immediately recognized automatic weapons fire. Not random, organized. Atlas 51 continued. Event 1. Vehicle-borne explosive attack at Kingsport Transit Terminal. New images appeared. Fire, smoke, collapsed maglev infrastructure, people running. Event 2. Armed assault and fires reported at South Harbour Fuel Processing District. More images. Industrial tanks burning. Security forces exchanging fire. Event 3. Coordinated attack underway at Crown Financial Exchange Tower. Gunfire echoed over live police feeds. Civilians screaming. Jace stared at the tactical display. "This isn't random." "No," Richard said quietly. "It's war." Atlas 51's tone remained calm. Kingsport Police and Royal Military Forces are engaged with hostile elements at all 3 locations. A beat passed, then multiple fires spreading uncontrolled. The station transformed instantly. Party atmosphere vanished like it had never existed. Firefighters moved with terrifying speed. Tables overturned as crews grabbed gear. Drone operators sprinted toward command and control. Exoframe crews ran for deployment elevators. Captain Rourke's voice thundered across the hall. "All units move!" Richard was already pulling on his turnout coat. Jace slammed a tactical headset over his ears while running beside him. "I'm getting drone feeds now. Holy hell!" The displays updated again. More explosions, more fires, more casualties. Atlas 51 spoke across every level of headquarters simultaneously. Citywide CES mobilization authorized. Deep within the station, warning klaxons began to howl. Massive armored bay doors started opening, one after another, like a fortress awakening. Below the headquarters tower, engines roared to life. Heavy pump trucks, rescue carriers, mobile medical units, autonomous suppression rigs, combat-rated evacuation transports. Drone launch rails activated overhead. Rows of aerial response drones lifted into the air. Farther below, inside reinforced deployment hangars, EF-72 fireframes powered on in synchronized sequence. Steel giants awakening beneath floodlights. Richard reached the exoframe prep bay alongside his crew. Technicians were already moving. "Frame 7 loaded. Thermal systems green. Hydraulics online." Jace's voice crackled over comms. "Richard, South Harbour's becoming a nightmare. Fuel fires spreading fast." Richard climbed toward the waiting fireframe. Above them all, Atlas 51's holographic form appeared across the command screens. Calm, cold, precise. The AI's voice echoed through every corridor of Station 51. "All CES units, deploy!" Outside headquarters, the streets of Kingsport filled with sirens. Columns of fire apparatus thundered into the night. Drones streaked overhead. Exoframes marched beside armored rescue vehicles. And somewhere beyond the burning skyline, the real attack had only just begun.